Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of We're Not Broke Lords anymore. We are now Charisma Society. In today's episode, we're going to be changing the soft top. This time it's going to be a tutorial, not like that first time. Back to that video. So we used that for a while, but somebody didn't like us. Looks like they stabbed it. This time we got a brand new top from Robin's Tops. We have both the fabric pieces, and we also have all the seals that we need for the windows. Here are all the part numbers that you'll need. Here's going to be all the tools that you're going to need. And here are all the parts that you may want. Part numbers are in the description below. We're going to start removing these panels back here. But first, we need to start by removing the center console. And you just pull that up. Just be careful not to break your clips. You do need those. I'm going to be unhooking the harness here. That way, I can shift this over sideways like that and not have to remove my shifter. Now you'll see these two Phillips heads right here. You're going to want to take those off. That way you're able to remove this part. Remove the Phillips head screw that goes here. Next, you want to remove these 4 Phillips heads. Alright, with that now off, you're going to have 3 pins that go on the sides, on the back, right there, there, and there. You got to take those off. They're just plastic little rivets. We took mine off last time. I just now noticed we forgot to put them back. There's going to be 2 more on the sides. The passenger side as well. We're going to follow up by removing this back panel. Next, remove these 4 clips that go behind the hoops. Now that we removed the pins, we're going to go ahead and remove the garnish tray. Remove that big part. I had to put the soft top a little bit down, that way I can have enough room to remove it in. Next, you're going to want to remove your side panels on both sides. Comes off just like that. Like that. Next, we have to remove this Phillips head to remove the side panels. Now we're going to remove this side panel, the back panel, on both sides. To remove the back panel, you'll need to remove these 2 mounts. Mine only came with 1 on each side, but you can remove these with the Phillips head or an 8mm socket. Just like that. Now we can continue removing this. Whenever you remove those back panels, don't remove this screw right here. This is critical as it holds the hoop plastics together. I took off the passenger seat and I'm taking off the driver's seat. You don't have to, it just makes it easier. The front are going to be 12s. The back bolts are going to be 14mm. Now we head over to the back. This panel right here, we're going to want to remove this. And it's held on by 2 screws, 2 Phillips heads to be exact. 1, 2. Now we can proceed to remove this panel. Just like that. Next, you're going to want to remove these 3 screws. Next, we're going to remove 4 Phillips heads. Here, 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 and the last one's going to be right here. Next, we're going to be removing the glove box compartment. You're going to want to remove the latch and the cigarette lighter connectors on the back. And then the other ones for the cigarette lighter, it's going to be at the bottom. Now we're going to finish removing the hoops by removing these 4 bolts with the 12mm socket. It's going to be these 2, this one, and this one. You're also going to want to get these 2 and these 2. Same for everything on this side. Now going back behind the hoop, you're going to want to remove this Phillips head right here. Remove this on both sides. You'll see me struggle because I forgot. Right here. See if I can zoom into that. You want to set your top to about there. Now we should be able to take everything off. Now that we removed the row hoops, we can put the top back up to remove these final trim pieces. Alright, now that we got that removed, we got those 2 removed. We removed the side panel. Now with the 10mm, you're going to want to remove all 11 10mm bolts on the retainer. Now that we have the 11 bolts off, we can proceed with removing the retainers. Next, we can remove the rain rail. Next, we're going to remove the window seals, and we're going to start off by removing this Phillips head on both sides, as well as all these in the middle. This piece will come right off. You can pull the seals right off. You can pull these off as well. Next, put the top down to remove this screw and clip. Here's where they go, but this footage is from the future. This bracket is going to be underneath the seal. Then you can remove the seal. Now finish up by removing these 3 screws. You might be able to leave those 2 on there. And then remove these 3. Comes off just like that. Same for this one. And it looks like we're going to have to drill out 2 rivets. We're going to be using a 3/16 drill bit to drill out the rivets. Next, put your top partially down and remove these Phillips heads on both sides. After removing all the screws, you can then bring the top back up to about here. Next, go back under the top, and between bar 2 and 3, you will unvelcro this strap. Now we can start removing the top by lifting the back flap up. With the back of the soft top lifted up, you use a Phillips head to either loosen up the screw and then hook the wire, or remove the spring completely. Then you pull it through the soft top. I chose to remove it. Proceed to route it through these holes here. Then guide it out, removing it from the top. Next, remove the front part of the top from bar number 1. Top is off. We have the new top right here. The Robin's top came with a modified method of installing the bow straps. In addition, we're going to be changing out the modified elastic strap for the one that came with the Robin's top because it's much stiffer. First, we're going to start off by removing these 4 rivets along with the metal retainer. Repeat on the other side. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall the elastic strap along with the metal bracket. If you're reinstalling OEM parts, then you're going to want to get the 3/16 by 3/8 aluminum blind rivets. For your top from Robin's Tops, you'll get a whole kit with everything you need with the exact size, so you won't need anything else. I suggest you use those. You will need a rivet gun. Now that we have our elastic strap installed on bow number 1, if you're going with OEM, you can reinstall it to bow number 2. Next, you're going to install the elastic strap to the second bow with the route that you chose. In my case, I went with the Robin's Top. The following are examples of the setups you should go with depending on what you're doing. At this point, if you want to reinstall new straps, you can go ahead and do so now. Here is a diagram and which part number goes where. But in this case, I decided to go with the Robin's Top bows. Alright, now that we attached this part, we're going to drill the 2 holes needed for this other section. Directions say to drill 1 inch away from this metal piece. We're going to measure 1 inch and make our mark. Now that we've measured everything, we're going to go ahead and drill our holes, insert the rivets, and install it. We got the straps on there, finally. Now we can go ahead and start putting on the top. Would you look at that? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This one looks nice. Now we're going to want to put the soft top down just a little bit. After you've laid out your soft top over your frame, you're going to want to guide your tension cable through the tension cable channel using the guide string that came with the top. Just like that. Next, you're going to want to finish installing the front part of the soft top and installing the rail along with the 7 Phillips head screws that come on it. Now we're going to come back to the tension cable and guide it through the top and the frame. Now we're going to move forward with reinstalling the tension cable spring. The easiest way is going to be to put your screw on and grab a set of pliers and stretch the spring over the Phillips head. Then tighten your Phillips head and repeat on the other side. Now we're going to attach the side piece of the soft top with 2 rivets on both sides. And then we're going to install the metal bracket along with the 3 Phillips head screws that go on it. Then proceed to do it on the other side too. Now I'm still going to leave this off until we get the back part on, which is what we're about to do. Now we're going to mount up the rain rail and ensure you get it on all 11 studs. Now you're going to want to tuck the soft top into the rain rail, also mounting it on the stud. Make sure to do this on all 11 studs. Next, mock up the driver or the passenger side rail. The choice is up to you, but only do one first. Now we're going to guide the strap through the top and put it on stud number 4. On OEM, it'll be stud number 3. Then repeat on the other side. Now we're going to finish mocking up the middle portion of the rail. Now we're going to install the opposite end of the rail. Now hand tighten all 11 bolts. Now we're going to replace the inner side of the 10X studs on the hoops on both sides with the provided clips. Now moving up to the front portion of the soft top, we're going to drill a hole where the screw goes on one of the metal brackets. Now we can reinstall the metal plate. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to install the side window weather strips. I'm going to be screwing through this extra piece of thread that they included just for extra support. Then just screw it into the top. To install the weather strip, you just compress it and wedge it in there. Alright, now we're going to put the top down all the way. That way we could reach down here. If you recall removing this screw and this bracket, we're going to be reinstalling it here. We're going to begin by bending over the back part of the soft top flap over to install the screw. Next, you're going to want to place the metal bracket on the weather strip. Next, pull over the other flap and install the weather strip with a bracket on there. Here's a diagram I made to kind of show you how everything should go. When installing your mounting bracket, make sure this long piece is away from the trim. Alright, we just finished up the side too. Now we're going to put the top off. We can leave the top up now that we're done with that. Next, take the rear flap and wrap it over bow 3 and 2. And velcro the 2 ends together and then tuck it into bow number 2. Now take the front flap and wrap it around bow number 1 and tuck it in as well. Then compress the bow so the flap doesn't come back out. At this point, we're done with the top. Now we're just going to reinstall the interior. We're going to begin the reinstall by putting on the hoops. Proceed by installing all 8 bolts onto the frame of the hoop. I forgot to record this, but now install these 2 panels behind the hoop. Next, you're going to want to install this Phillips head and the one in the back. Now we're going to be reinstalling the center console. Make sure you reinstall the 2 connections in the back. Now reinstall the 4 flat Phillips heads at the top. Now reinstall the 3 Phillips heads in the back of the console. Now install the 2 Phillips heads by the cigarette port. Reinsert the trunk button if it fell out. Now install the Phillips head inside the glove box. Now we can reattach the side panels and install the screw, as well as the seat belt if you removed it. Now reinstall the 2 Phillips heads at the bottom of the hoop on both sides. I'll be using aftermarket screws. Now install the Phillips head screw on the top right of the passenger side and the top left of the driver's side. Now we're going to be installing the panel behind the console. Then proceed to install your 2 Phillips heads. Next, I move this piece to the back with the top halfway down. Now adjust this panel to fit it properly.
Like that.
Now we're going to install the back wall panel. You might have to finesse this one in a little bit. Then reinstall your clips after you've installed this. Now we're going to reinstall the rest of the center console, and don't forget to reinstall your connectors at the bottom. Now we can install the panel behind the seats on both sides. Now we can install all 4 of these hooks, but I only have 2. You can use a Phillips head or an 8mm socket to lightly install it.
Boom.
All we need to do now is reinstall our seats. Torque the 2 front 12mm bolts to 16 foot-pounds and the 2 rear 14mm bolts to 22 foot-pounds. And finally, we can install our door sill panels. Now here are the results of the Robin's Top Stay Fast Black Soft Top for the S2000.
Alright, so that's going to be it for this episode. We went through 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. So make sure if you do this job that you have a good weekend with no rain or a garage. It took me about, I want to say, 15 hours for this. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, anything you would do different, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. We also started a new gaming channel. So I'm going to link that in the description below if you want to check that out. It's already going pretty good. We're kind of focusing on shooter and horror type of video games. So make sure you check that out, subscribe. We would love that, and we appreciate you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and comment.